Coming up next.
So we get on the plane, we take off, and halfway through the plane, two seats over, a gentleman who I don't know in the same row starts seizing. He's seizing, his eyes roll back, his wife starts screaming. There's commotion on the plane. They can't find, they're looking for doctors as they normally do on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there and after a prayer, I say, I have a capacity to witness a quantum healing to the degree that person's soul will invite and allow it. So I say
Mm-hmm.
a prayer and I said, I'm here to be a witness to God's infinite ability to heal. Show me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into detail of witnessing the healing, but I'm guided to remind this powerful man's soul that it's not his time to witness as it comes back to and through the body. The healing is probably 2 minutes. I open
Mm-hmm.
my eyes, he opens his. Everything calms down. The doctor that they found now does his vitals. I don't know the man's name. I
Mm-hmm.
will never know who he is. I will never know what he does. He will not know my tiny, huge role that God had me there
Mm-hmm.
for.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine for the rest of the flight. I'm like sobbing, you know.
Good.
I'm
Good.
I'm sitting there and so I'm flying to deliver a talk on the worth of a human soul. But I've just witnessed the worth of a human soul.
Welcome to Faith Over Addiction podcast, where the chains of fixing and striving are broken and joy is rediscovered in Christ. You are here because you know there's more for you, a life beyond addiction's chaos, rooted in God's peace and promises. This is the place where Christian women like you learn to release the weight of fixing and striving and instead lean into God's strength to create a home filled with love, grace, and hope. She is clothed with strength and dignity. Proverbs 31:25. That's you. You may not feel like it yet, but you are stronger than you know. And God has so much more for you than carrying someone else's addiction. Here, we'll uncover how to set healthy boundaries with love and a little humor. Find resilience and grace in the messy moments of life. Celebrate small victories and embrace joy like never before. Lean into God's promises for restoration and strength because He's not done with your story or your loved ones. This is your invitation to rise up, embrace your worth in God's kingdom, and take back what's been stolen by addiction: your peace, your joy, your future. Your faith is the foundation, and your boundaries are the bridge, and God's truth is your guide. I'm Tanya Joya, your host and fellow traveler on this journey through the chaos of addiction. I'm here to cheer you on, equip you with tools that work, and share the truth that's changed my life. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8:10. Together, we'll uncover how to create safe, loving space for healing, starting with your own heart and home. By setting boundaries, trusting God's plan, and embracing His truth, you can reclaim your joy, your peace, and your family's future. Then you will be able to stand firm for your family and legacy as a kingdom daughter, a woman who can laugh at the days to come, knowing her identity is secure in Christ. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and get comfortable. Let's walk this journey together. We're about to take back what's been stolen, create a safe, healing space for you and your family, and rediscover the joy God has waiting for you. Welcome to the Faith Over Addiction podcast. I am Tanya Joya, your host, and I am here with Victoria Rader, and we have another beautiful episode from her. So we're not going to go into the depth of where she came from because I was telling Victoria, it is the episode that I have listened to the most. I find listening to my own episodes very fruitful as long as I can get away from the cringe of my own voice. We all have an issue with our own voice, I think. But her first episode with us is season 3, episode 48. You are going to want to listen to it. It is faith-filled and very clear that Victoria has walked through many, many things and has trusted God with each step of the way and looked at our own humanness in the process. So, Victoria, tell us about the work you're doing now. And we were discussing trust. So, please stay tuned in this episode. If you are struggling to trust God, struggling to trust yourself, struggling for your identity in Christ, we are going to look at that and redefine it. But give us the work that you're doing now.
Tanya, first of all, thank you for having me. I think you and I have had such a meaningful spirit present conversation. And I think when spirit is present, as it is in all of your episodes, people get little, kernels of truth that are not spoken, but we get credit for. So it's a win-win.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I wanted to go straight into prior to, I'm sure it'll come in, but what in terms of what we're doing, what we're up to, but what I want to talk about is that the three aspects of trust that is coming so clearly to me right now, and that is a lot of us trust God's will.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of us trusts God's way to implement
Mm,
the will.
mm-hmm.
And certainly, almost none of us trust God's timing on
Mm,
God's way with God's will. And so I want our conversation to create that understanding is that all of us have trust that is probably wavering in one of those three categories. And it's so important to know where you're wavering because very few of us waver on the what. It's like, I trust God's will for me. I don't know what it is,
mm,
but I trusted. I have
yeah.
blind trust. But then it's the way and it is the timing that shake our trust,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's interesting because right now, we as a company, I just got back from Italy where I
Mm.
delivered my TEDx talk in January.
Oh, fantastic.
The TEDx talk was called Three Laws to Quantum Leap Your Worth.
Uh-huh.
So now that I remember, you and I talked about eternal worth in our conversation.
Uh-huh.
So this is the next step. It quantum leaps your worth. And so let me talk to you about trust and that. Originally, I was invited to give that talk for in September of 2025, and
Mm.
everything was lined up, and I was so excited. I bought the tickets, non-refundable because, I mean, TEDx, right? Going with my mom. The event gets canceled. The host has unforeseeable chain of events. And so I'm just sitting there with the talk going, what's happening? Now, that talk I have worked on delivering for 3 years. And at that point, what I get is that's not the talk you're going to deliver. Because the
Oh.
talk I was going to deliver was actually on how to find yourself while being lost in the age of AI.
Mm.
Superb material, probably not the time yet. I've had private coaches. I mean, it was just done. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is your first thing is that everything is crumbling. The when is crumbling and the how is crumbling. And so I said, okay, since I'm not talking about the AI and the five amazing tips I thought I had, what am I talking about? And it's like, you're going to talk about quantum leaping your worth because human worth is going to be challenged and shaken as never before. And I have chills as I say that. And I'm like, great, I have now few months to do that. The talk gets rescheduled again. Now, without going into all the details, the timing changes, the host changes, the city changes.
Oh no.
Still Italy, but now I'm no longer invited to Florence. I'm going to Spoleto. And so I'm going with the flow. I'm not saying I'm flowing with the flow. I'm going with the flow. I'm like, okay, God, you're still in charge, I hope. You know. Um, and so we get to January 8th, 2026, because the talk is now scheduled for January 10th. My mom is with me. We show up at the airport. Now, I fly internationally a lot. For 30
Mm.
years, I fly at least four, five, six times internationally a year, plus
Mm.
a ton of local flights. We show up, I'm checked in. I go in to drop the luggage. The airline, TAP Airlines, Portuguese TAP Airlines, is closed down. Like you can't drop the bag off.
Oh no.
So I'm looking around, I'm like, who do I go to? And they said, well, they fly with United. Why don't you go ahead and, and talk to the United about it? So I
Mm-hmm.
walk around, I go to the United counter, and I said, What's happening?" And they said, oh, you've been removed from that airline. You're now flying with us. And you no longer are flying through New York and Florence. You're flying through Munich. I'm like
Okay.
standing there, like never happened. I don't have an email about that, like nothing. The
Mm-hmm.
plus is I am leaving at the same time, 5 minute difference, and I'm arriving actually at my destination 6 hours prior because there's one less changeover. So I'm
Yes.
like, this is great. I get my ticket and I see I'm in the row 33.
Mm.
And I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, that's a sacred number. That's Christ's number to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's a reason. So we get on the plane, we take off, and halfway through the plane, two seats over, a gentleman who I don't know in the same row starts seizing. He's seizing, his eyes roll back, his wife starts screaming. There's commotion on the plane. They can't find, they're looking for doctors as they normally do on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there and after a prayer, I say, I have a capacity to witness a quantum healing to the degree that person's soul will invite and allow it. So I say
Mm-hmm.
a prayer and I said, I'm here to be a witness to God's infinite ability to heal. Show me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into detail of a witnessing the healing, but I'm guided to remind this powerful man's soul that it's not his time to witness as it comes back to and through the body. The healing is probably 2 minutes. I open
Mm-hmm.
my eyes, he opens his. Everything calms down. The doctor that they found now does his vitals. I don't know the man's name. I will
Mm-hmm.
never know who he is. I will never know what he does. He will not know my tiny, huge role that God had me there
Mm-hmm.
for.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine for the rest of the flight. I'm like sobbing, you know.
Good. Good.
I'm I'm sitting there and so I'm flying to deliver a talk on the worth of a human soul. But I've just witnessed the worth of a human soul. I've just witnessed how mindful God is of each and every one of us. How many things had to have shifted and moved in my life to put me in that seat on that plane, unknown to the person I was there for.
That's
It's
amazing, Victoria. Tell it, go back to I'm going with the flow, but I'm not flowing with the flow. Now, many people would have gotten angry and upset, even though you got a bonus, right? You got a bonus, you're getting there hours early, you're sitting in a sacred seat. How did you, uh, how did you calm your nervous system when you're like, wait a minute, I don't even understand what's going on here?
this is speaking of trust, this is the moment when I've learned that because I've dedicated my life to God, and that's a decision we've made. We've all, if you're listening to this podcast, at some point in your life, you said, I'm yours. I
Mhm.
might know who I am from day to day, but I know whose I am, and that's more than enough.
Mhm.
Like, my life is yours.
Mhm.
And when you do that, the trust comes from if my life is yours, and it is in those most sacred hands, then if things change and shift, no matter what the level of discomfort for me, it's because there is a miracle that is waiting to be unfolded. And by golly, I can choose to close my eyes to it, or
Mhm.
I can stay curious to see what it is. And so our body will need to react with anger. The reason why is because our body is wired to react with anger when the boundary is violated. And it's
Mhm.
a healthy thing. So schedule is a boundary you set for your time and for your performance. So when that is violated, the body gives you the red flag, boundary is violated. And it's very important because then if somebody is there to harm or hurt you, that anger says boundary is violated. But then you get to ask, who violated my boundary? And in that case, if it's the Spirit of God, I can let go of anger. I can now replace anger with curiosity, right? It's unreal to not expect for us to react with healthy anger to boundary being violated. It's
No,
just,
wait, let's pause here. The question that you asked, I think, is the one that
yeah,
is the key. Who violated my boundary?
yeah,
For some of us, we violated our own boundary by saying, that's okay. I'll just handle it. I won't, you know, I'm not going to follow what I know I need to follow. So, h- how, this is a how question, and it may be a what question. How are you managing? You come in with such bright spirit, all of this. I imagine there's still time that you get angry. You come in and you're going to a TED Talk,
yep.
something huge, and they've messed with your airlines. And you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not going to get there. I don't know if you planned an extra day. I don't know if you had, everything all laid out. What allowed you to stop and say, okay, wait, let me think about this? How did you calm yourself enough to ask who violated the boundary?
Tanya, experience. I will take us back to 20, I think 13, 2014, somewhere there. Not gonna quote myself on year, somewhere there, plus or minus. At that point, I'm studying a very powerful technique that is called theta healing. I'm one of the few instructors at the highest level for that technique, actually, for the last decade. Amazing, amazing way to reprogram a subconscious and all of that good stuff that I love. And so I am flying to be certified as an instructor to Brazil, or so I think. And so a week prior to instructor certification, I still don't have a hotel. So I am like on the phone and I'm like, guys, hotel. Finally, 2 days before the flight, they give me the hotel. So I now have the hotel. I show up at the airport to fly to Brazil for the instructor certification. Yeah, I've mentioned I fly a lot, right? I
Mm,
show up, I don't have a passport. I forgot my foreign passport. I'm like looking at the time now because of the amount of flying both me and my husband did. At that point, I'm a what's called a global service with United, which means they will bend backwards, to accommodate. So they're like,
mhm,
look, as long as you get the passport 10 minutes before takeoff, we'll take you to the gate. We'll drive you. You'll fly. So I call
mhm.
my valiant family, my husband, brother, husband, all at the same time, my savior boys, and I'm like, guys, this is where the passport is. They rush the passport, and it pays off to come in 2.5, 3 hours early. They rush the passport, plenty of time. I am like this real divine hero, march with the passport to the counter, flop it on the thing. Like he opens it up and he says, "You don't have a visa. Brazil now instituted visa requirements."
They could have told you this when you didn't have your passport. You need a visa too.
And at that point, there is 40 minutes to till takeoff. There is no way I'm making it. So I came out and I'm standing there. I'm like, when you pray and you say, God, redirect, redirect me if needed. I
Hmm.
mean, the spirit first tries like a feather. But if you
Hmm.
don't hear a feather, if you don't get a hint with a hotel and you pause, if you're like a bull in a china shop, which being driven
Hmm.
sometimes is not always good in my
Hmm.
life because it's like, oh,
Hmm.
then God will stop you with 2x4, right? If the feather
Hmm.
fails, 2x4
Hmm.
appears. So I'm
Hmm.
standing there outside of the airport and I'm like, I hear you. It's right movement, not the right place. And I rebook myself for 2 weeks later to go to Spain, where that instructor does the same class.
Hmm.
And in Spain, in that class, I meet a person who is currently my CFO, who first became one of the closest friends, then a client, then a student, then a host for now 4 trips to Finland, where we've changed so many lives. Her name is Paula Heinonen. Paula Heinonen, who is my CFO, and her husband, Mika Heinonen, who are my COO, were the divine timing. They were the people I had to meet to fulfill our mutual part of God's vision for us.
Hmm.
And so I felt God's will. You've got to get certified. I did not pray for Way. It was God's will, Vika's way. She's going to Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've surrendered that, I was redirected, right? Not so gently. Had I
Mm-hmm.
been more attuned, I would have been redirected more gently.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where you and I, just before we started, I had to have a golden nugget about trust that I just shared with my team is
Yeah.
this is the ultimate test of trust that frees me. You see, I don't always trust to hear God's voice. I'm too human. I
Mm-hmm.
don't always trust of not making errors. I don't trust my humanity. But what I do trust, that because I dedicated my life, that
Mm-hmm.
He will step in and clean my mess every single
Mm-hmm.
time to make sure that I fulfill the vision I've come to fulfill. So that's the answer to that trust. So as I'm standing now, who knew that airports are now apparently the cataclysm of my spirituality?
Sounds like it.
So now as I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, my body now remembers, hey girl, last time things didn't work out, it's only because they had to work out in a much more miraculous way. That's a motto. Things are not
Mhm.
working out right now only because they have to work out in a much more miraculous way that I'm capable for. And so that's the experience, just the experience and evaluated experience, right? Evaluated experience.
So things are not working. I'm writing as fast as I can. There will be a transcript. Things are not working out now only because they will work out in a, or they must work out in a more miraculous way.
Yeah.
And when you are looking at that, so let's get back to trust God's will, trust God's way, trust God's timing. This is a verse that I've had in front of me. It's funny that you're talking about it that way. If you bow low in God's awesome presence, he will exalt you as you leave the timing in his hands. First Peter's 5:6. And I think a lot of people listening will be very much of, no, it's going to fail, or that person's going to leave, or the mortgage isn't going to get paid, or this or this or this or this isn't going to happen if I don't take it over. How do you turn yourself back to walk in his timing? We've seen two airport examples.
Well, it goes back to, I think that even me in my need to take over, that version of me is equally loved, cared for, and supported by God. So what I don't do is I don't guilt trip myself for my inability to trust completely because I trust that that inability is already atoned for and that I still get the blessing. So I don't spend time questioning Christ's atonement. And I certainly know I'm not going to question my own humanity because it's
Mm,
present. So I've
mhm.
resolved those two. I've resolved those two. I'm doing the best I can. And so if I'm failing to trust, I trust that God knows I'm doing the best I can. So it's not a trust about the topic. It's a trust. I say I teach quantum mechanics, right? So it's not what we feel that creates our reality. It's what we feel about what we feel that creates our reality.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that outer layer of what I feel is whatever this I'm doing, like
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
that is surrounded in God's grace. That is surrounded in God's grace. And I trust that grace. I trust that I know that God knows my heart of how imperfect it is, and yet how perfectly it is seeking His perfect love.
That's where that's what's hitting me right now is the God that you dedicated yourself to is a very loving God. How did you come to that space? Because I know life hasn't been easy.
No.
How did you come to that space of, I'm having these feelings of this is not going the way that I think it should go, but I'm going to release. Do you have a release exercise that you use for that?
Oh, I have so many exercises. How much time do we have?
You
You
left
know,
us with a great one last time.
yes, yes. Let me scan us for what we. Oh, I have such a good one. I wish I had a scripture that goes with it, but it'll come. Um, you know, I'm very blessed to be doing what I'm doing professionally. In 2019, I don't know whether it made it in our conversation last time. Maybe it has. In 2019, I had a beautiful studio that I still have, by the way, and I was doing so many seminars in the studio, and the Spirit said, you need to take it all online. And
Mm,
I started what's called Quantum Freedom Group. I
hmm
took everything online. We launched it in January 2020, just before the COVID hit. So we've transitioned our business. My 2020 was the best year, up till that year because and so what quantum freedom is, it really is a sacred, sacred place where once a week I go live in our growing group of healers, entrepreneurs, coaches, people that want to make a life a better place.
hmm
And I continually pour into them. And I witness quantum shifts. We use universal laws surrendered to God's grace to change the way they live so they can change the lives of many over
mm,
and over and over again. And you can't be doing this for 6 years without it affecting you, right?
mm, hmm
It's what I do. So the honest answer is I am continually supported in this while supporting others. Like that's because we all receive equally, if not more, from what we're pouring into others. So that's probably my thing. And now I will honestly, so many techniques have come through, hundreds of them, that I probably should just do some kind of a coaching certification on them at some point, but hundreds of them that I do go back to and use every single one of them for me. Like this conversation we're having. I didn't expect for this piece of knowing to be public, but it will be. Sorry, husband, I'm announcing it. Last week, 2 hours before I had to stand on stage and deliver to a huge group of lenders, a very powerful keynote, my husband and I found out that he was brutally scammed.
Oh,
And he didn't just lose everything in his business. We have a gaping hole of a
oh,
debt we've never had, to the degree we've
oh,
never had, in his account as you and I speaking it. FBI is now involved. The local authority is involved. Those first 48 hours. So he is at the bank trying to recall the fraudulent wire, which by the way, we will know in a couple of days whether it's succeeded or not. Partially,
mm,
we'll see. But he's in the bank while I'm pulling in my car to go in to deliver the keynote. Where I'm the
mm,
closing keynote. I am
hmm
the energy taste people will walk home with.
right.
And my body refuses to move. The shock has set in on such a deep subconscious level that my body is locked in.
Mm,
And I'm sitting there. I'm very emotional because it's so raw. Now I'm sitting there. And first I pray and I say, we can't do this right now. I can fall apart all the way home.
hmm
But right now, I'm not here for me. You brought me here to give hope to women in the audience and to men in the audience. So just the fact that at this very moment I am feeling hopeless and scared
mm,
cannot, cannot rob the sanctity of this moment. And I sit there and I say, I can't do this, but you can do it through me. And we're doing it. And my body lets up, the spirit flows. I go in, I deliver the keynote. I didn't stay for the happy hour. I went home for the unhappy one with my husband instead. You know,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's just that raw. So the exercise I did then is the exercise I'm going to do now,
Okay.
very palpably. So there is a teaching in the Bible about God being the source and the river of his prosperity and abundance.
hmm
So I want us all to think right now, and me at that moment,
hmm
if there is a flow and the river of abundance, if I'm standing in the middle of that river, If I'm looking downstream, if I'm standing in the river and I'm looking downstream, everything is getting away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Things are flowing away from me. Now I might want to chase them and I'm going to try to grab them, and yet I'm then carried away down. So when
Mm-hmm.
we're facing with our back to the source, to God, things are flowing away. We're living in a place of loss. We're living in a place of lack. But in our little visualization, I will take us on 3, 2, 1 to turn around and face upstream. What happens when we face upstream? Everything is coming to us. The opportunity is coming to us. Is the scam behind me? Yes. Is it flowing away? Yes. Am I denying it? No. But do I know and believe that He who is my source is filling my life with abundance, even as everything that's behind me is flowing away? And so at that moment in that car, when the life turned me around and put my back to my God, I did the exact visualization that we will do together and turn myself to it. So you guys will feel such a shift. Should we do it, Tanya? Let's do it.
Yes, please. Let's do it.
So let's take a beautiful breath in through your nose and slower out through your mouth. Take a few of these breaths, and as you do, feel your shoulders soften. I want you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus, the area between your chest and your belly button, your solar plexus. We're going to ground into who we are as children of God. Gently tap your heart and say, I am love, right? God is love. I'm a child of God. I am love. Tap, tap into the heart. And now tap on your solar plexus. I am light. Tap, tap. God is light. I'm a child of God. I am light. I am love. I am light. I am a child of God. Feeling supported and having your hands in this way for a moment. I want you to just allow for yourself to witness that you're standing in the river of divine abundance. Without forcing how you're facing, how are you standing? Interestingly enough, very few of us are standing with our back. A lot of us are standing with our shoulder upstream. So we're kind of sideways in that river, where we're seeing things flowing away in front of us and behind us, and we're so worried about what's flowing away and getting away from behind me. What am I not seeing that I'm missing out on? Few of us are indeed standing and looking down on relationships, on things. Just give yourself grace. Receive grace from God. This is where you are. This is where your awareness is. And now on 3, 2, 1, imagine that divine angels, God's angels, lift you so gently above the river and place you back into the river, anchoring you, facing the upstream. 3, 2, 1, done. And you're facing the upstream of the river of God's abundant love. Witness as the light and love that God has for you is flowing now through you, to your heart and to your solar plexus, to charge you with love and light that you are, and to receive the love and light that God has for you. Imagine as that energy is flowing towards you and through you and into your life. You don't need to turn back, to face back, to see where the light is going. You're trusting that as you're keeping your eyes single to God's glory, your whole life is filled with light and with love and with support and with opportunity and with decision and with guidance and with blessing. And on 3, 2, 1, open your hands wide to receive. Open them. Face the flow of river of abundance with your arms wide open. And repeat after me, God, I am willing to receive.
God, I am willing to receive.
I am receiving even now.
I am receiving even now.
Bring into my awareness your grace and my gratitude.
Bring into my awareness your grace and gratitude.
Put your hands back on your heart and your solar plexus and stand there for a second, allowing for the river of abundance to Bring to your awareness what it is that you're grateful for at this very moment that God so gracefully blessed you with. People, places, things coming into awareness, flowing towards you. And now magnetizing future blessings that are flowing to and through you as current opportunities. Taking a deep breath in and out. And opening your eyes.
Wow. Like the other one, I'm going to return to this really often.
You just feel it, right? You still feel it.
Yes. Well, the picking up and the turning, because it is, like you said, the scam had already happened by the time you went in to give the talk. It was already done.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. How do you bring this to the people that work with you? What work do you do with them?
You know, it's we have so many things, but what we're focusing on as a company now is I truly believe that the more people we remind of their divine mission, the more powerful the shift. And so the work that I do is in quantum freedom, is digging out, lighting up, and keeping up the light within each person. And it is sacred work. And what we've created is a sacred community in that work where people support each other. And so the way that usually sessions, their group sessions are, well, once a once a month, I do what's called Until You Shine program. It's based on my book that was published a decade ago, but was waiting for its time. And that particular program actually is on TV, on New Reality TV as well. But in
Mm-hmm.
Until You Shine, once a month, we focus on one law. And the reason I'm smiling is because this month, at the end of the month, we're focusing on the law of the harvest, which is God's timing. By
Yes,
the way,
yes.
so the alignment is great. And so that's kind of the program where I describe God's laws and I take quantum mechanics because God is the author of quantum field that everybody's obsessing about.
Mm.
And so I explain in scientific terms the universal laws, and then I teach and empower people how to work with them, that they work for them, not against them, in practical ways. And then we remove any blocks to that. So that's a gorgeous program. That's a part of Quantum Freedom. And that's kind of me that I do that. But then three other times, it's participant driven, where people say, this is what I'm in business time to thrive. I interview, I call them a solopreneurs, people that have reached financial recognition, they're usually millionaires or billionaires, without having lost their soul's mission.
Mm.
Harder to find than you think, actually. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so because a lot of people that live their soul purpose but are limited by inability to honor money as a vehicle of blessing others, they think it's something else. And so they're limited in their finances. And yet there are people who are unlimited in finances but limited in their ability to serve. So
Yes,
for
yes.
I'm in business time to thrive, it's those people that I interview for half hour. And then the members of the group talk about glitches in their business that we shift on a subconscious level. We do the same for group healing once a month, the same for manifesting once a month. So that is the work that I've dedicated myself to. And as people join Quantum Freedom, then they learn of other products and services that our coaches can do for them or our products can do for them to support them on their journey, whether it is apps or journals or individual sessions. But it all kind of converges with Quantum Freedom.
And you've got a new journal out on
Yes,
trust, right?
yes, yes,
Tell us
Worthy Me on
about that.
Worth. On Worth. It's called Worthy Me. By the way, all the journals you can find at meseries.love. If you put meseries.love, it takes you to my Prosper Me book and all of our quote unquote me journals. The latest one is Worthy Me, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a journal of building your worth,
Mm-hmm.
uh, building your awareness of your worth. Your worth is given to you by God and it is infinite. And so you build that. And the one that I'm co-creating right now, co-creating with God, is called Love Me. It's going to be published next month. And it's about loving yourself enough to create a soulmate relationship of God's choosing. So there you have it, little snippet. But
Wow.
yeah, very excited about that.
Victoria, it is always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking the time. We were talking about it's been a year, so let's not let it be that long. We will put all your links down below. Can you give the journal link one more time just for folks who might not have gotten it?
The journal link is Me Series, Meseries, just as you hear it, meseries.love. That'll take you to Amazon bundle where you see all the journals. And to schedule to learn about quantum freedom, just go to our site, you2shine, you2shine.com. We don't sell it online. You get to meet with me for a private pre-interview because it is a sacred space and we want to make sure you are as aligned with the group as the group is aligned with you. And
Mhm.
so once a week, we have these beautiful interviews. And if it is out of budget or out of alignment, you will still get amazing value. That is a promise of that pre-interview.
Fantastic. I so appreciate it. There are pieces that she gives in episode 48 in season 3 that are not here, that really pull all of this together. This has been magnificent, Victoria. To learn a little bit more about your earlier story, you can go to that episode or you can go to her website. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Faith Over Addiction podcast. Remember, nothing changes until something changes. Today is your day to step out in faith and make a difference. You are a daughter of the King, a woman who can spark incredible ripple effects of hope and healing, not just in your own life, but in your family, your community, and God's kingdom. If this episode encouraged you, bless someone else by sharing it. Send it to a friend who needs a little hope or post it on Instagram and tag me. I'd love to hear what resonated most with you. And hey, if you're ready to reclaim your God-given identity and create a safe, loving space for yourself and those you care about, let's talk. Book a quick call with me today, and I'd love to hear your story and help you take the next step. Oh, and don't forget to head over to Apple Podcasts, search for Faith Over Addiction, and leave me a review. Your feedback not only makes my day, but helps other women find this podcast and step into freedom too. You are strong, you are loved, and the joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8:10. Until next time, keep walking boldly into the life God has for you.